This process cements President Akufo-Addo's intention to run in the general elections in December. He's the first president to visit the commission to personally submit nomination forms. Accompanied by the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, his running mate, the President presented a check for 100,000 Ghana cedis and a tax clearance certificate, qualifying criteria to contest for the presidency. The chairperson of the EC and the returning officer of the presidential election, Mrs. Jean Mensah, described the filing process as an important step forward towards the 2020 election. She said the forms will be scrutinized.
This year, the Commission has established 2 teams who have been tasked to review all the forms submitted. The technical team has been tasked to scrutinize the forms submitted to ensure that the presidential candidates meet the criteria as set out in the law, namely that the presidential candidate is at least 40 years of age, that he or she has satisfied all tax obligations, and that he or she has nominated a vice presidential candidate, among others. The second team, that is the IT team, has been charged with the responsibility of scrutinizing all the voter ID cards of the presidential candidates and their supporters to verify whether the candidates and their supporters are indeed registered voters.
President Akufo-Addo asked the EC to conduct the elections in an atmosphere of peace and fairness to all candidates. The president said he would not like to be elected president based on crooked exercise. What was meant to be a formal presentation of form virtually turned into a mini rally as supporters of the party were present in their numbers to lend their support to the president.
The first at the EC when it opened to receive nominations was 2-time independent candidate Mr. Jacob Osei-Yeboah. He arrived at EC at 10:40 a.m. Joy tried his luck at the presidency in the 2012 and 2016 elections. But this time, he was there at the EC to file nomination to be the running mate of independent candidate Mr. Alfred Kwame Walker. When he spoke to the media, Mr. Osei-Yeboah, in the company of 2 others, said he was there in the stead of Mr. Walker to present his forms. He added that this time round, he chose to step back. The EC now has 2 teams in place to vet presidential candidates. The newly developed criteria for vetting the presidential candidates is made up of technical and IT teams. The technical team is expected to scrutinize the forms, while the IT team is to ensure that the candidates are registered voters. Mrs. Jean Mensah, who is also the returning officer of the presidential elections, received the nomination forms on behalf of the EC. The forms include 4 copies of the nomination forms, a banker's draft of 100,000 Ghana cedis, and tax clearance certificate. Founder and flag bearer of the Ghana Union Movement, GUM, also known as Osofo-Addo, was the third to file his nominations after Jacob Osei-Yeboah and President Akufo-Addo had earlier filed their nominations. He was accompanied by his running mate, Alhaji Abu Grant Lukman, and his entourage. They arrived at 4:15 p.m. He appealed to the EC to uphold its values of transparency and fairness in the nomination process. Flag bearer of the Ghana Freedom Movement, GUM, Christian Kwabena Andrews, better known as Osofo-Addo, charged the EC to remain firm in dealing with all political parties. The chairperson of the EC, Mrs. Jean Mensah, expressed confidence that the extension of days for filing of nominations from 2 to 5 days will be beneficial to all candidates. Meanwhile, flag bearer of the Ghana Freedom Party, Madam Akufo-Addo, who was scheduled to file her nomination on day 2 of the 5-day filing process, failed to do so, but still showed up at the EC's offices.